Hello chaps, how are we all doing today? And it's time now for build update number 4. In first 3 build updates we got it made, we got the base painting down. So now it's time, we got the camouflage on as well. Yes, we got the camouflage scheme done as well. So now it's time to get the detail painting done, get the decals on, finish off all the little bits and pieces, you know, getting them how I want them. The wheels, if you've seen, I've nearly finished with the wheels, still working away on them, and also the figures, they're almost, but not quite ready. They're almost ready. So in this video we hope to get everything finished off, including weathered, the whole lot finished. It might take me about 2 weeks to get it done. We'll see how long it takes. It takes as long as it takes, and that is it. That's it. So let's get down to the bench. I'm after getting the detail painting done. Well, some of it. Alright. After getting some of the detail painting done, and I'm after getting the exhausts pipes at the back. I'm after getting them how I want them. And I'm very, very happy with how they came out, believe me you. Even though I mean, they're not 100%, you know, show quality, but they're John quality. They're definitely John quality. So let's go down to the bench. We'll have a look at the detail painting, and I'll let you know then how I'm going to progress on with the rest of it. Okay. Right. Now again, I'm apologising for the camera angle. Purely, this vehicle is so big that it kind of takes up so much room that it's very, very hard to get the camera in around and fit me in as well. So as you see, I got the detail painting done. Happy with how that came out. 1 or 2 little oversprays, bad oversprays when I was doing the camouflage, and I tried to patch it up with some of the original colour, but for some reason it's after coming out slightly different. But I'm not too worried. I'm not too worried at all, because lucky enough the turret kind of covers most of that, and also with the weathering that's going to get toned right down. So I'm after getting the tow cables done, the tools, machine gun on the front, and also the exhaust pipes there at the back. Now if we can get a look in at those exhaust pipes, very, very happy with how they came out. Very, very happy indeed. I'm really, really happy with them. And what I did with them was I painted them NATO black. Alright. Over the NATO black then I very, very light coat of what was it, red brown. Very, very light coat of that. While the paint was still wet with the red brown, I used some rust pigments. Now I know I'm not, I always profess that I don't go off into using pigments, but certain pigments you have to use, and I got that ages and ages ago. It's Alclad Warpig's rust pigments. And just dabbed a couple on, and then a couple of black pigments then over that to give it kind of the smoky effect, and it worked out fucking really, really happy with how that came out. Okay, so there's our nicely rusted up and damaged up exhaust pipes. On the inside of it then I'm after giving them on the inside of this, the shrouds, I had them off so it was easier to do it that way. I just gave them a black wash and a couple of black pigments just to kind of get that soot effect. So that's that done. Right, on the sides here, I know I said I wasn't going to, I did say I wasn't going to get them all muddy, but I did. Just give it a good heavy black wash while the wash was still wet, then added a couple of pigments. I keep saying pigments, and it's not as if I went out and bought a load of pigments, and I didn't. There about a year ago I bought that little set, right? That little set, little Revel set. It comes with 6 pigments in it. It's got sand, white pigments, black, mud green, dark brown and rust. I think it was about £8, €8, which is all it was. That's why I picked it up and I bought it. It was in my local hobby shop and I was quite thrilled with that. And I've been using them for about the last year. So when I say I've been using pigments, that is the extent of my pigments. Okay, the rust pigments and that little set. But pigments are pigments, do you know what I mean? Whatever way you use them. Like I also use pastels, chalk pastels, even though I haven't used them in a while. I vary around. I haven't even a clue where I'm after putting the chalk pigments, or the chalk pastels. I think Abigail is after acquiring them. So anyway, my next step for this now is to get the decals on and get this gloss coated. By getting it gloss coated, I get to seal in all of them, because I mean, look, my finger's kind of clean. Pigments will come off on your fingers, so unless you get them sealed in, they're not going to do anything. I know there's a product you can get, pigment sealer. I don't have any of that, so I'm going to use the gloss varnish to seal them in, because I'll be done coating it after that anyway, so I'm quite happy with that. Now a quick look at the wheels and how the wheels have come up. Really happy with the wheels, really happy with the wheels. Take a look at them there. Alright, what I did with the wheels was black wash. That's an enamel wash. I showed you how I make my enamel wash. Then I made down a muddy sludge wash using brown and the mud green pigments. Made it very light. Give that a coat of them as well. On the wheels now, on the rubber parts of the wheels, what I did was, I showed you with the Dremel, I removed that shiny black off them, so we end up with that then when they got the pigments on them and everything else. So really happy with them. With the idlers, where's my idlers? I put them back into the box, didn't I? I would have, yeah. Right, with my idler wheels, I'm after giving them a little bit of a shining on the outside here. Alright. Basically, someone added in the comments that make sure that I silver around the edges there, the vertical surfaces there, because they'll fit in with it's where the guide horns come up around it, and that would scrape any of the paint off it. So I you can still see the paint is there. Oh, there's too much light on that. See that there? So you can still see the paint is still there, but it's been shined up and the metal coming through slowly but surely. Delighted how they came out. They came out very nice indeed. And as you see, they've been washed, got the wash and everything else. So the wheels are done. I'm happy with the wheels. Wheels are all finished. The only thing I have to do now is I have to put silver on the spikes here. I haven't done that yet, but I have them weathered anyway, so I just have to sort of silver up the edges of those. So my next step now, then I have to get the tracks. The tracks are still just in their basic, I'm after getting them NATO black, and that's about all I've done with them. When I get onto them, we'll explain how I'm doing them. So what I'm going to get done now is I'm going to get the decals on. There's only 5 decals. I'm after checking with this and double checking and triple checking, because I thought that there would be the the German cross here, the Balkan cross or whatever it is. It's on some of the rest of the variants. Well, not variants, but the rest of the versions of it. But it's definitely not on this one, so not to worry. So there's only 5. There's 3 numbers, one either side of the turret, one on the turret bin, and then we've got the unit insignia front and back. So that's all it is. There's only going to be five decals. So I'm going to get the decals on, then I'm going to get it gloss coated. When the gloss coating is drying in and all that, then I'm going to start working on the tracks. So, you know, step by step, we're getting there slowly but surely. So I'm going to go on ahead and get the decals on. When the decals are on, we'll come back, we'll have a look at the decals, how they worked out, especially with the zimmer, getting them in around that zimmer. Sort of plenty of that, where are the sealers for decal solutions, shall we say, microsol and microset, and use a Q-tip and sort of dab it in and get them in around the get them to kind of shrink on and into the zimmerit. Hopefully I'll get it in, hopefully it'll work out grand. If not, then it doesn't. Simple as that. If it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. So I'll get that done. Hopefully it'll work out perfectly, and then we'll come back to it. I have an idea on how I'm going to do the black wash on it. Well, one coat of the black wash. I'm going to spray it on. Yeah, because my wash is quite wet. Well, obviously it's a wash, so it's very, very liquid. So that might spray. Being such a large vehicle, I've this thing about when you brush on stuff. On a small vehicle, it's not really going to show brush marks, but on a big one, there is a good chance, because there's big patches of the dark yellow, and brush strokes will kind of show on that. So if I just spray it on, we'll just see how it works out. If it works, again, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So go ahead anyway. I'll get the decals done. Come back to you then when they're done. Right, there we go. There's the decals on. Slightly difficulty putting on the decals, I must admit. The size of the decals being so big, and the numbers sort of it all being joined together, as in that's all one decal. I suppose it would have been slightly easier if there were separate decals. If I'd thought of that earlier, I could have probably got it a lot neater. Also the fact with the zimmerit, you can't kind of lay it on and then sort of slide it up and down into place. You got to be kind of perfect first time. At this side I found it more difficult because I left it all as one piece, and I just found it that little bit more difficult to put it on. The back one I had no problems with whatsoever because it's on a flat surface. The usual rules applied for putting on decals. And on this side, what I did was I separated them. Okay, I had them separate, and they were on and in place and everything else. And then I realised, oops, it's not really that straight, is it? But I suppose it adds to the fact that these were sort of hand painted on. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm quite happy with it, to be honest with you. Not chuffed, but reasonably happy with it. Also, then we've got a decal there on the back, right, and a matching decal there on the front here, right. So they went on easy enough, like I said. I mean, they were small, and going on to the zimmer, it was easy enough to place a small decal. It was when they were quite large I had a slight problem with them. Bit of forethought, and if I kind of separated them beforehand, should have done that. I made them see 3 separate decals rather than just the one large one. I'd have probably not have those problems. So anyway, next step now for this is to get it gloss coated. Then I can start the weathering process. Gloss coating works for 2 reasons. It makes the whole thing gloss, not just because the decals are kind of have the shine on them. If you don't gloss coat it and then just say dull coat it over that, the dull coat, for some reason I use the Tamiya dull coat, and it kind of reacts with the decals. It shrinks them and fucks them up big style, unless you gloss coat them first. Now for gloss coat I use that Alclad 2 Aqua Gloss. There's the Aqua Gloss 600. Absolutely fabulous stuff, absolutely fabulous. Goes a long way, it really, really does, because you only need a small bit of it to cover a large area. So I'm going to get this gloss coated. It will also seal all that mud and stuff that I have down there, all the pigments, and kind of help to seal them in a bit as well. So I'll get that done, and when that's done, then I'll come back to you and we'll have a look at the shiny tank, okay, before I start the weathering. Right, okay, now she's glass coated. Okay, it's done a perfect job. It's sealed all that pigments and stuff down there. Did a small, just a tiny little bit of pin washes there on some of the bolts and things. Just really, I was actually just testing out the wash, making sure it was okay. Happy enough with that. If you can see there, I did those little bolts and the weld seam. That's not it for washing. I've plenty more washes to do on it. But next, I want to do some chipping. Okay. Small bits of chipping here and there, where areas that would get worn around the turrets, hatches and things, around the driver's hatch and the radio man's hatch. Also on the ring here for the machine gun. Now it wouldn't be sort of down to the silver because it's not metal on metal. They've kind of little rollers inside in that system that traverses this around. But the paint would definitely be chipped off it. Same around the boxes, around the openings of the boxes, or edges and things like that. Anything that would get knocked or damaged. Also then a little bit of chipping where the crew would be just basically hobnail boots and things like that back then, walking across the painted surface, scratching the paint, things like that. So just general wear and tear, chipping is all I really want to get done on it. Where it goes then after that, we will see. Machine gun, I haven't fixed it on yet because I want to give that I want to give the gun itself a blue wash. Right, that will kind of give that gun bluing colour. Okay, I've done the detail painted on it, the wooden handle there, the butt stock, I think. What else have I done? Oh yeah, on the commander figure, I got his medal ribbon done. Come on, there we go. You can see that there. Oh no, you can't see it. No, you can. I'm actually doing his medal ribbon there, so that's grand now as well. So they're ready now for dull coat, and I'm happy enough with the figures. So the figures have to get dull coated. The main tank is to get chipping, and I've got the tracks to get done as well. I want to get the red brown down on the tracks. So next step, I'll get some chipping done. We'll have a look at that then when the chipping is done. Okay, as you can see from that there, I'm after getting the chipping done. Okay, now this chipping I have basically all over. I'm only just showing you this little section here because it's just easier to show in a large section than say zoom out and show the whole thing, because it's not really that noticeable from a distance, but it's noticeable that it's getting dirty and things like that. Alright, for most of the scratches and things I used hull red, and for some of the scratches in the green section where the paint would have chipped off, I used the desert yellow. So the next step for this now is to give it the black wash, and from the black wash then I can see how that turns out and see how much more then needs to be done to that. Also I got to get the tracks done as to finish off figures and things, so there's still plenty to do. So I'm going to go off and I'm going to give that a black wash, and we'll have a look at it after the black wash is on and after it dries in. Now I'm going to try something new for me. I'm sure people have done it in the past. I'm going to spray the black wash on. Okay, I'm going to use the airbrush and spray the black wash on from a nice distance. Sometimes when I put on a black wash, you can see kind of brush streaks in it and sort of areas where it pools and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that the black wash will darken it and give it that grimy look without sort of any kind of streaking marks or anything like that. Also, another little thing that I forgot to mention earlier, if I bring the camera up a bit, excuse me there now, because I need to get some more light on the subject and to turn this on its side. If you look in there, I've got it looks as if I'm after putting in glass into the vision blocks, because there wasn't any there. Right, it came without glass for those little vision blocks. And what I used was this stuff here. Okay, Deluxe Materials Glue and Glaze. Absolutely fabulous, freaking brilliant stuff. Simon Kemp gave me this about a year and a half ago, and I still have plenty of it left. And what you do is you put a tiny little bit around using a toothpick or cocktail stick, whatever you call them. One of these yucks here. Hold on a second. One of these little things here, right? Just put it around the edge, then drag it across. It forms a little film across. Now it's pure white, but when it dries clear, and it works brilliant for windows and things in small areas. So that's how I did the vision blocks there for that. So just something I forgot to mention. Anything else I forgot to mention? Seeing as I have a habit of it. No, that's it. So now I'm going to go off. I'm going to get the black wash on. We'll see what that looks like when that is on and dried in a bit. So I'll give that a lash. Okay, so now I'm after giving it the black wash, and it's nearly finished now. Just a couple of tiny little bits to do with tiny little bits more weathering. I'm after getting some kind of grime streaking there in the back of it. And if we get a close look at how the wash is after turning out, it's after turning out brilliant. It's after making the Zimmerits stand out that much better. I'm also after adding some red-brown paint to the spare tracks along the side there, which give them the nice rusty effect. Okay, without using pigments, so therefore it's not going to brush off or anything like that. The wash is also darkened the colours on the numbers, and on the top then everything is nice and dark and scraped and worn looking. Okay, the way I want it. After putting on the wheels, right, so everything in there is, like I said, it's almost done. It's almost ready now. So let's move on to the tracks. We can finish off them with the tracks, and then just do some light little touch-ups, stick in the figures, attach a couple of other little bits and pieces. Right, with the tracks, I'm already after giving them a coat of NATO black. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a coat of a very, very light coat of red-brown. This one here, XF64 red-brown. Right, come on, zoomy. XF6, there you go, XF64 red-brown from Tamiya. That's the paint I'm going to use. I'm going to lightly spray it, so I'm give them a light coat. I don't want them to be, totally red-brown. I want to get into the black to kind of come through it as well. So therefore, just give it a very, very light coat, light and misting. That it actually changes the colour, but doesn't overtake the whole effect. Right, so I'm going to go on ahead and get the tracks painted up. Then it's just a case of fitting the tracks and the last few little bits of touch up then, so it's almost finished. Nearly there now. Okay, so here's the tracks. I'm after getting them kind of rusty-ish looking. I'm happy enough with that. Basically what it is, it's the red-brown, light dusting of that. Light spray, not really a dusting. Then I use a small little bit, again, same idea, but very, very lightly, of NATO brown, and again with hull red, just to kind of get little different shades of the kind of the browny red into it. Now I'm happy enough with that, so what I'm going to do now is make down a little bit of black wash, and I'll do it just here so you can see how that's going to sort of affect it. Right. So I'm just going to give that basically give them a wash. Rub it in because I don't really want it to sort of blacken them, but I want them to kind of darken them a bit. So I'm going to carry on. I'm going to get the finish off doing more wash onto them. We'll see what that looks like then when all that is dried in, and we can see what the effect is going to turn out like. So I'll go ahead, get them done, and get back onto you. Okay. Okay, so there's the tracks with the wash on, and as you can see, they're almost dry. Just a couple of little spots in here. Still need a little bit of drying, but really chuffed with how they came on. So what's left now is to get them put onto it, put onto the tank, and I think it's just a couple of little tidying up pieces to do. Then after that, then it should be finished. So I want to give that silver sort of metallic dry brush as well. So I'm going to wait until they're fully dry. Should be dry by this evening, and I'll give them a dry brush and then fit them to the tank. So hopefully by the end of the weekend I'll have the whole thing finished. So I'm happy enough with how that's going on. So next step now is, like I said, is just to wait until they're fully dry and give them a dry brush with the silver paint. That'll give us you know, where the metal look, where the even the rust has kind of scraped off and it's down to the bare metal, and it goes a bit shiny from scraping around the ground and God knows what else. So like I said, she's almost finished, nearly there. Right, now here's the tracks finished up. They've got their various colours on them. Okay, the colours I use NATO black for the base colour for them. Then did red brown, NATO brown, hull red. Okay, all just misted onto it, apart from the red brown, which kind of went on a little bit heavier than the other two. NATO black was the base colour for them. Then I gave them a black wash, my usual enamel wash, which is basically just black enamel paint and artist's white spirit, and then give it a dry brush using this. Okay, shining silver war paints. Okay, and we've ended up with this, right? As you can see there, we've got a nicely metal looking inside and out. Okay, a nice kind of shine. Now remember, there is a light shining on this at the moment, so that's why they're appearing a little bit shinier than what they actually are. And here's what they originally looked like. Okay, there's a couple of links, unpainted links. So when you put the two side by side, you can see the difference. There's a noticeable difference. They're much just plain grey, whereas these now have a nice patina to them. Okay, we'll use that word, patina. Don't exactly know what it means, but if I can use it anyway. So anyway, now I'm going to fit the tracks onto the vehicle. We'll see what it all looks like, and well, I'll see what it all looks like, and I'll decide whether it needs a bit more weathering or is that enough. So it's as good as done. Like I said, it's just a case of when everything's together, I'm just going to stare at it for a while and see if there's anything else I can do to it without ruining it and without making it look a bit ridiculous and unrealistic. So I'm going to leave it at that, lads, and we'll have a look at it then and see what else needs to be doing. I'm happy with it, so that's it. Next video will be the final reveal. It's pointless showing you putting everything together because that was the final reveal of it. So I put the tracks on. Excuse me. I put the tracks on. Just needed a tiny little bit of dry brushing in one or two little areas, and that was it. I'm happy with it. I really am happy with it. Came out fabulous. So I put the figures into place and everything else. So now it's just time to sort of get together and film the final reveal of it, which will be up during the week. Okay, might even be up tomorrow. Be up tomorrow around the same time as the bum. So I'll be kind of revealing it on the bum as well. So that's it, lads. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the build. I certainly did. I really did. And as 1/16 kits go, it's probably the cheapest that's out there. There is the Hobby Boss T70 or T54. I'm not sure. Is it T54? Yeah, T34. T74. I didn't know what I was talking about. There's a T34 out there with the Hobby Boss as well, and it's a little bit cheaper than that one. But it's basically the same idea. Pretty basic, not very much to add on to it. It's what you do to it that makes it a fabulous kit. Because you could get a person that hasn't a clue about modelling, no techniques whatsoever. You mean not my techniques are very basic, very basic indeed. But I like the effect I get, and that's what I'm happy with. And you know, that's what counts as far as I'm concerned. As long as I'm happy with it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to impress people. I'm not trying to do it just for the channel or anything like that. I'm doing it for me, and that's what you should be doing as well. You should be doing models for you, and once you're happy with it, leave it at that. Don't go saying, oh, if I could only do such and such a technique and this, that and the other, I could make it a little bit better and this, that and the other. Don't bother. Get to the point that you're happy with it and leave it at that. I mean, like with the tracks and that now, I could have gone, if it was going to be, just up on a shelf, never to be touched, I could have gone ahead and done a bit more work with pigments and things like that. But I know me, I'm going to play with it. I am. When I'm up here and on board, I got nothing else to do or whatever, I'm just going to roll it around and pick it up and touch it, because I enjoyed making it, and so it's going to get touched, it's going to get played with, and I'll probably give it on to some kid that will enjoy it. So I didn't want to go on the pigment side of it, because pigments, they get smudged, you touch off them, they come off in your hands will be filthy from playing with it. So they're not really meant for not a toy. Then again, most models, they're not a toy. Most of the stuff I do isn't for toys. I don't do it for a thing. But this one I'm going to play with. I am going to play with. So thank you very much for watching the series. Very enjoyable, I must admit. I enjoyed it. Whether you enjoyed it or not, I mean, that's up to you. Did you get anything from it? I don't know. But I'm showing you my progression anyway. So don't forget, lads, join me and Abby on Mondays for the bum, and go out and buy yourself a kit, build it, enjoy it, because that's what it's all about. So that'll leave it at that, lads. Enjoy yourselves, take care. I'll see you on the next one. Actually, I'll see you on the final reveal for this one. Stay tuned.